Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you have had a great week. One of the questions that is repeatedly coming up in the last several weeks is related to earnest money. So I wanted to take a minute and chat with y'all real quick about the return of earnest money specifically. Now, what I want to mention has to do with maximum one only. So if you have a buyer who has submitted earnest money to a closing attorney, this does not apply as they have their own procedures with the return of earnest money should a deal terminate. So if you do have a deal terminate and your buyer has submitted earnest money to maximum one as the holder, all you need to do is upload your termination form to your transaction, and that earnest money return will be processed. What I am referring to is a traditional termination during a due diligence period. So if you have an extenuating circumstance where there is a debate about who is getting earnest money back, or it is a termination beyond the due diligence period, that's probably a one-off conversation if there is some confusion. But in the due diligence period, if you have a buyer who has submitted earnest money to maximum one and they decide to terminate, where the buyer is in full rights to return or get that earnest money returned to them, just upload your termination form into your paperless pipeline transaction, and that will trigger our office to return that money to your buyers. What I am other questions related to earnest money that are popping up to the surface as of late are: can earnest money be returned back to the buyer via ACH if they paid their earnest money through Earnest? And the answer is yes. Can they also receive a check if they prefer? Yes. Can they pick it up at the office? Yes. Can we mail it? Yes. There are a lot of ways that we can get the earnest money back to your buyer. It would be great if on your termination form you indicate the way that you would like to have that money returned to your buyer in the explanation section, which is in the bottom half of that document. But if you forget to do that, you can always add a note into your transaction. You do not need to email us separately about that. You can just communicate with us via the transaction so we have record of it. We have a sales meeting coming up on Tuesday, August the 11th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And I'm going to add a link here that you can click and register yourself if you have not done so already. If you could, please register if you plan to be there. It does help us with a head count for breakfast. And also, the first 10 people who register and attend will be entered to win a gift card for attending. So make sure you attend. And if you were at our last sales meeting, you know we ran a little long, and I assure you we will not do that this time. So don't be afraid to register. I hope you guys have a great week, and don't forget to reach out to us if you get any sticky situations or have any contract questions to brokerquestions@max1premier.com. I'll see you next week.